Chesapeake, Virginia, 1650 AM WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick and at GJBTV.com. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
And we are live as always right here on News Talk 1650 as well as tunein.com by typing in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. Sports Scene is an interview show every Wednesday, live from noon to 1, the only remaining show from Red Zebra. Also, sports highlights on nnpstv.com. Beautiful, beautiful day, February the 8th. Tell your friends about 1650. Follow me at Greg Bick, at Sports Highlight, at GJBTV, and HR1LineMall.com on Twitter. Thank you to our military for what you do 24/7. Brian Parsons from Wavy TV 10 Fox 43 is our featured guest in studio today, right here on 1650 AM. Sponsors on Hampton Roads, OneLineMall.com and GJBTV.com. Guest lineup presented by Mi Casita Mexican Restaurant with 2 excellent locations in Virginia Beach. Phone line presented by Spaghetti Eddies. Kudos to the Patriots winning again. The Wizards are playing great. College basketball heating up. And, of course, spring training in baseball right around the corner as well. Sponsors this month, 1650 for the show, Spaghetti Eddies, Newcastle, Mehogar, Newport News Creek Festival. Finks, of course, is on the Wizards and Sports Scene as well, right here on 1650. GJBTV.com. Hit the YouTube link for archive shows as well. TuneIn.com. Type in WHKT to listen to your phone or your computer anywhere in the world. We'll be back after these messages.
Oh, yeah, this is the place where Washington Wizards basketball comes alive on the radio.
John Wall, edge of the circle, cuts to his right, splits the defenders, drives, 360 under the basket, makes it, scores!
Follow John Wall, the Wizards, all season long on their journey through the NBA.
Catch and shoot for 3, it's there! It's there!
Check it on Twitter at Dave J Sports or at JC Talks. It is the hashtag radio party right here on your home for Washington Wizards basketball.
Listen on 1650 AM, The Answer. People in Chesapeake and Hampton Roads have come to expect the finest Italian food at Spaghetti Eddies. In addition to great lunch and dinner served daily, this fine establishment caters to and can host your party. Call 484-7301 for their Taylor Road location and call 410-5500 for their restaurant in Greenbrier. For more, log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to GJBTV.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene on 1650 AM and TuneIn.com.
And live back right here on the radio, 1650 AM, tunein.com. This is Sports Scene every Wednesday, 12 to 1. Greg Bicouvaris along with Joe Daniel, as well as our featured guest in the studio, Brian Parsons. We've had him on several times. I've had his brother on as well. He used to do radio games with his brother in the Southampton, Franklin area several years ago. I've known Brian for a long time, 20 years at Wavy. Good to see you.
20 years, Greg. You know, you lose one card game and you're in for life. So that's kind of what it feels like.
And that's the thing. A lot of us grew up in this area. We take pride in this area. I do a lot of radio and TV, as you do as well. And there's a sense of this is your area. You grew up here. You care about not only the sports teams, but the community in large.
Well, it's home. I mean, this is where I grew up. And I do have an affinity for the local sports teams. And I like to see all the local sports teams do well, whether it's Norfolk State, Hampton, William & Mary, Old Dominion, Christopher Newport, Virginia Wesleyan, and to an extent UVA and Virginia Tech. I kind of pull for them all.
To tell the audience when you're on the air, and also you've also done a lot of producing, you've done editing, you've done camera work. In today's age in broadcasting, you really have to learn a lot of the tricks of the trade. You don't see many people anymore. We know your colleague, Bruce, an exception, but most people today shoot, edit a lot of stuff now.
Yeah, there's no one-trick ponies anymore. I mean, I anchor, I produce, I report, I edit, I coordinate. I mean, the web has become a big thing as far as populating and posting to the web. But in this day and age, but the technology has also made it a lot easier to do more than one thing at a time. I mean, everything is a lot easier to do. The days of tape-to-tape editing are long gone. Digital editing is a lot easier and a lot faster and a lot more efficient. So if the people that harken back to the good old days of the way it used to be, yeah, those were good old days, but today is even better. It's just easier to do things now.
But the thing is, a lot of people that went to college, in the 80s and the 90s, even the early part of the 21st century, had to learn the internet, on the fly because it just kind of came down. Social media is still new. Downloading is new. All this is still kind of new, the technology. A lot of kids that went to school, like I said, in the 80s, 90s, and even, let's say, in 2000, had to learn pretty much on their own because it wasn't taught in college because there was no internet then.
Well, yeah, not to the extent that it is now, obviously, but I mean, it's just it's evolution, man. It's changing at the times. If you don't change with the times, you're going to get left behind.
Absolutely, of course. All right, let's talk about some of the sports topics before we'll save the local schools for last. Some of the headlines. First of all, your thoughts. Fox 43 aired the Super Bowl, of course. Patriots won that as well, 34-28.
Huge
34
huge numbers.
Yeah, 34-28 in overtime, over 100 million.
Well, locally, the rating in Hampton Roads was a 55 rating. It averaged that, which means 55% of the households with televisions were watching that game. A 55 rating, that's obscene.
Yes.
The share, which is the percentage of people with their televisions turned on, households, at one point was a 79.
Mm-hmm.
We were the third highest rated market in the country.
And the thing
Fourth, Richmond.
And the thing is, exactly, that this area does not have a professional team, but the ratings of the NFL are always strong, or any sporting event in the Norfolk market. That shows a lot for the TV audience.
Yeah, Norfolk and Richmond, for whatever reason, if there's a top 10 of the highest ratings, they're always in there. For whether it's NASCAR, NBA, NFL, those would be the big ones.
Yeah, I like how the Super Bowl rotates different networks every time. I've had a chance to work with this crew recently back on January 1st that did the Super Bowl, Bucks crew. It's really a lot of fun. They put a lot into it, and of course, their production's second to none as well. All right, let's move on. Were you surprised by the outcome? Because most teams that have that type of lead in the NFL don't blow it.
Yeah, I was surprised that the Patriots won when it was 28-3 in the third quarter. Yeah, sure. But I actually did pick the Falcons to win. I picked the Falcons to win by 12. But what an amazing game! I mean, seriously, what was going through your mind? At what point did you think they've got a chance? I mean, when it's 28-12, you're thinking, oh, okay. Then 28-20, then you're thinking, oh my God, Tom Brady's going to do this again.
He's a magician. I mean, I think they wanted it more. I don't think it's...
How do they... So the Falcons didn't want it? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think the Falcons took for granted that they had it when they had the lead because that's where experience comes in hand. The Patriots had...
That's true, but don't say the Falcons didn't want it.
No, I'm not saying they didn't want it, but I think they kind of went out of gas.
Yeah, exactly. They ran out of gas.
Yes, and of course, they've had more distractions too. The Patriots kind of had a chip on their shoulder with Deflategate, but regardless, they got the job done.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to execution.
Yeah,
is what it is. I mean, to say somebody wanted it more, you can't. That's hard. You can't prove that.
Well,
they both wanted it. Obviously, they both wanted it. It's just that penalties were a big factor for the Falcons. The Falcons scored too quick. The Patriots were on the field longer. The Patriots doubled up the amount of plays that the Falcons had, and the defense was done at the end of the game.
Well, look at the coaching changes they've made since they've left. I mean, Shanahan's already moved on to the 49ers. The defensive coordinator has moved on. Here's the biggest thing. I tell this to people all the time because I work a lot of NFL games. You always try to compare the NFL to college football. Yes, Alabama is the king of college football. But look at it. Sarkisian was going to be the offensive coordinator for Alabama, always a national champion no matter what year it seems like. They didn't beat Clemson, but for the most part, Saban gets the job done, college and the NFL. Here he is, perennially the number one college football coach in the program in the country. And Sarkisian, who's had a cloudy future and past with Washington, Southern Cal, and some of his NFL stints, trying to rehab his career, basically said no to Saban because two type A egos don't always work out. Here he is saying no to Saban, which he already said yes to, and immediately going to the Falcons because he had a connection there with Quinn. the power of the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he wanted to do. I mean, maybe he just felt a better opportunity in Atlanta. Who knows?
But he didn't leave just a normal Division III school. He left Alabama, which is perennially the top team in college football year in and year out, no matter who they lose.
Well, something tells me Nick Saban could be a difficult guy to work for.
Yes. I actually like Nick Saban, though. But anyway, all right, this is Sports Scene right here on 1650 AM, tunein.com. Type in WHKT with Brian Parsons, Greg Bicouvaris. Glad you're with us. I'll get your thoughts on some of these Nuggets. That was a great game the other day between the Cavs and the Wizards. Huh?
Oh, my God, I'm so glad I was watching that. That was unbelievable, and I'm thinking, man, the Verizon Center is rocking. It's probably rocking more than it ever since the days that Michael Jordan was playing there. Yeah. And that shot by LeBron was incredible, obviously. But how amazing was that pass by Kevin Love?
Yes.
That was unbelievable. What a heartbreaker. But the fact that it is a heartbreaker for the Wizards is good news because they've been so downtrodden for such a long time. They've got a good ball club right now.
Right.
They can make some noise in the East. I'm not saying they're going to go to the finals, but they could go to the conference finals.
Right, just like Westbrook and Durant kind of had two type A egos at OKC, of course. One's now with Golden State. Beal and Wall had to channel their egos because there was a little tension earlier. They're playing great right now. But like you said, that turnaround shot by LeBron right in front of the owner of the Wizards and the Caps without barely even making eye contact with the basket. He almost did a 360 turnaround. On the glass, right?
He's one of the greatest of all time.
All right.
Is he the greatest of all time? Tom Brady's the greatest of all time, right? Is LeBron the greatest of all time?
As far as my two, Kareem is number one, LeBron's number two. I'm sorry. I actually like those two better than Jordan, who I'd put number three, but that's just my opinion.
I go personally, I go MJ. He was an assassin on the court.
Yeah, people can debate that. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, all right.
All right, college basketball. The whole Duke thing. With Coach K being out, of course, he's had issues with his health before. But have you ever seen more of a punk in your life than Grayson Allen? Tripping people, continuously hitting, shoving people, assistant coaches. Does the kid not get it?
Apparently not. Here's the tragic part about that. He's a great basketball player. He's a tough kid. But there's just something about him. I mean, you fool me once, fool me twice. How many times does he get a pass for this? I mean, it's just blatantly tripping. To be caught 3 times on camera in a year tripping somebody on a basketball court, that's unacceptable.
And then here's the thing. You know this better than anybody. People can tweet it to him his first thing. He wakes up in the morning. He sees that same thing on his Twitter inbox or his timeline, whatever. There's more camera angles now in-house and out-of-house than there's ever been.
Yeah, and I'd like to see him try that to some NBA veteran.
Oh, yeah, that won't work. We've said that before on this show. Speaking of the ACC is great this year. Virginia's maybe not as good as they've been in the past. They lost to Syracuse recently, but Virginia Tech's solid. Of course, the usuals, Duke, North Carolina, always very solid.
It's an amazing, amazing conference. I mean, think about it. Who would have thought 15 years ago that Syracuse and Louisville and Pittsburgh and all these teams and Notre Dame would be in ACC basketball? And I was a little skeptical to see that if it would work or not, but I mean, it's a prime time game every single night. I mean, tomorrow night you've got Duke and North Carolina.
Right. Absolutely. And, of course, there'll be a lot of teams. And a lot of people don't really pay attention to college basketball. The junkies do until the Super Bowl is over with. But now that's pretty much the main showcase right now.
Same with the NBA, too, for a lot of people.
Yes.
And NHL.
Right. I'm one of the few that likes the NBA year-round. But I totally understand what you're saying. All right, your network has covered the Daytona 500. Hard to believe it's just a few weeks away.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess it is, huh?
Yeah, of course. Well, you don't seem that excited about it, but Bruce has always gone down there.
Wait, Bruce and I used to go down there for years, but that we don't go down there anymore.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, it's kind of a cost thing. But
I totally understand.
It's just, to me, it's.
But it's on your network. Come on, you got to promote it a little bit.
The NASCAR season is the NASCAR off season is too short. They keep tinkering with the product. Do you know the name of the series now? it's the what is it
they change sponsors almost yearly.
Monster Energy series. They're tinkering with the race format. They're going to have 3 segments. I don't know. I think NASCAR needs to try to cultivate a younger audience and get a youth movement going on because where's the next generation of stars? Where is your next generation of fans? Richmond International Raceway at one point held 112,000 people, and you couldn't get a ticket. There was a 60-race sellout streak going on.
Yeah, I think NASCAR is half dead. I totally
Well, they've
agree.
taken 60,000 seats out of the track.
Right.
And they can't sell it out with a capacity half of what it was.
And plus they have it twice a year, which is, in my opinion, it's past that time now.
I mean, I like NASCAR. I just think they've got some figuring out to do. They definitely reached their ceiling and crested, and now they're kind of on the way down, and they're kind of leveling out as to what they are. It's almost a niche sport.
Talking to fired up Brian Parsons from Wavy TV 10, Fox 43, and his 20th anniversary. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us at 12:21. This is Sports Scene on 1650 AM, tunein.com. Type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. More locally here, speaking of it, I'm not a big fan of auto racing. I work the one race for Fox in April. I do like to go there once a year. But Langley Speedway's for a long time been a staple, and here it is basically a few months away. The local fans do like it. They did not have a season in 2016. What's your gut opinion about 2017?
I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, it's there's no news on the front from Langley Speedway. They're being hush-hush about everything going on. There's a real estate situation with the people that own the land and the person that was leasing the property that had the track, and they just can't come to any kind of an agreement. And I think it's a shame. It's a void because Langley Speedway was a great night out, a great family night out, and an expensive family night out. You can bring your cooler in with your own food and beverages. There's all sorts of activity for kids to do. It's a good Saturday night out, and it's a shame that they can't come to an agreement because Langley Speedway is an asset to Hampton Roads.
Yeah, like you said, very convenient off the interstate, free parking, concessions were really good as well. But like I said, 2 years, it's tough to come back. I don't care what it is after a couple years idle. And then our good friend Chuck Hall, we won't mention the station, but he had to leave his radio gig and as promoter, so it really kind of was sad for him as well. Talking to Brian Parsons, and let's switch gears as we're talking, a little bit of everything here, a collage, mix and match type thing with Brian while we got him in the studio here. Let's take advantage of it. Shanahan, of course, going to the 49ers. He's going to be looking for a quarterback, and he loved working with Cousins when he had him for the Redskins. The Redskins made him a franchise tag, as you know, with Cousins, but there seems to be a little chip on Cousins' shoulder about that whole salary thing, but he's only led the team to the postseason once.
Kirk Cousins has leverage right now. Kirk Cousins had a great season. I mean, who was Washington going to replace him with? Ryan Fitzpatrick? I mean, Geno Smith? Kirk Cousins is a fantastic quarterback. They're going to reach a deal. They're going to re-sign him. They'd be crazy to not re-sign him. I don't see any downside. Yeah, the offense kind of petered out there at the end of the season. They could have clinched the playoffs with a win against Carolina, and they laid an egg. They laid an egg against the Giants, but I think collectively, Kirk Cousins has proven himself to be the Redskins quarterback moving forward. Whether that's a franchise tag, which would mean they would have to pay him like $26 million for one season, or do they sign him to a 3 to 5 year deal? I think Kirk Cousins stays with Washington, but that is kind of an intriguing prospect for him to go to San Francisco with Kyle, right?
Yeah, and Kyle's dad, who coached the Redskins too, is going to be a big influence for his son. He should be. I mean, he coached, the good thing too about John Lynch, I mentioned this on my Facebook and tweeted as well. He's the new general manager of the 49ers, worked with him at Fox when he was the color analyst there. Kind of surprised everybody. I worked with him even during the Cowboys games this year. He was hush-hush, Mr. Professional, and all the best to him. And of course, he knows Shanahan very well because he played for Shanahan's dad with the Broncos. So I think that's going to be a good fit. We'll see what happens. Like Brian says, I think he's definitely deserving of a good contract. Cousins is. And look at their careers, Brian. Cousins and RG3, how they've totally gone in different directions.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, do you remember in the 1994 draft when the Redskins picked Heath Schuler out of Tennessee? With a top 5 pick, and then they also drafted Gus Frerotte in the 6th round. Mm-hmm. How did that end up? Who ended up having the 13-year career, and who ended up flaming out?
Yes.
Schuler flamed out. Frerotte had the career.
Right. It's hard to find solid quarterbacks. You're not going to have many Drew Breeses or Mannings of the world, too, as well.
But the thing is, you can find them, but it's where you find them that is the crazy part.
Right.
You can find a Tony Romo undrafted or a Tom Brady in the 6th round or a Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. It's crazy.
Right.
Or you could have a top 3 pick turn out to be a Ryan Leaf.
And with so much national TV, Ryan's a good example of that. He went to Boston College, their best quarterback since Doug Flutie. But, the bottom line is, like you said, there's so many ways with video and internet and TV that people are scouting everywhere. Speaking of which, National Signing Day is almost becoming National Drama Day.
That's a tough day, man. We're talking 8 o'clock in the morning, all the way trying to hit as many schools as we can, and some of these kids put on their it's almost it's become a dog and pony show to me with all the different stunts that they pull, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old, the 20-year vet over here, getting crusty. But to me, it's a little bit much. I mean, you look at these kids that pull all these stunts to make their pick, and then you have a player like T.J. Ricks at Old Dominion. He didn't have a scholarship offer. He had to walk on to Old Dominion. He had to earn his scholarship. He was the best defensive player on the team and led the league in tackles. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm getting at? I mean, sometimes your best players are the quiet, humble ones that have to work their way to their success.
Right. One of the better programs in this area, Oscar Smith, will have their third coach in 3 years in 2017. They used to always have some of the elite players. One of their quarterbacks went to William & Mary, of course, and remember Sims a few years ago that went to Virginia and Alabama both. So it just shows you're as good as your head coach is, selling the program, selling it to the TV channels, selling it to the assistant coaches and the head coaches. So we'll see. A few more minutes here with Brian Parsons. Brian, I know you went to Old Dominion. The football team still relishing from a nice bowl win. How things changed. We're going to be talking to Wood Seelig here in a few weeks right here. One Sports Scene does a great job on the radio. Your thoughts post-bowl?
Well, I think it was a very successful season, obviously. A 10-win season. Grant Gardner, who is the basketball SID at Old Dominion, tweeted this out, and I have not verified it, but he tweeted it officially with Old Dominion that Old Dominion was the youngest team to win 10 games since the inception of Division I college football. I mean, chew on that for a second. Yeah. That's pretty crazy. And they were a little. The schedule was favorable. They did not have to play Middle Tennessee. They did not have to play Louisiana Tech. When they played Southern Mississippi had started a redshirt freshman quarterback. They burned his redshirt third-string quarterback. First 3 possessions were turnovers. And Old Dominion had the ball in the red zone. That being said, they won the games that they had to win. I mean, 10-3 is pretty successful. I think they could be even better next year. But what's the most important position on the field, Greg?
Quarterback.
And they don't necessarily have one, or they don't have a clear-cut quarterback who they know is going to be the person in that position. David Washington had a heck of a senior season. And the thing with Old Dominion, with Bobby Wilder, and this all goes back to coaching, bottom line. One of the most least penalized teams in college football. One of the best turnover margins in all of college football. Those little intangibles are going to win you football games.
We'll talk some Old Dominion basketball.
That being said, they've got to play Virginia Tech and North Carolina next year.
Dang, I haven't had any 5-hour energy in 2 weeks. Seems like you drank 3 this morning. Goodness gracious. All right, how much more time we got before the news, please? All right. Hold on with Brian Parsons. Panera is now the only nationwide chain that can say every item on their menu is 100% clean, meaning no artificial preservatives, colors, or flavoring. Panera will deliver to you. Go online and type the address to find out if available. They also offer catering for large groups at home or the office as well. Don't wait to choose in line. Pick up the rapid pickup option. Order from your phone, and it'll be waiting for you on the shelf like a true VIP. Soups, sandwiches, salads, breakfast, beverages, bagels right there at the Harborview section, 6255 College Drive in Suffolk. Go by and see Christian and the friendly staff. You can't go wrong with their Thai Garden Chicken Wonton at Panera right there in Harborview. All right, the news will come up. We'll come back with Brian Parsons and a lot more on Sports Scene. Stay tuned.
There's a party going on right here, a celebration to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email the show, bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studios. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by Hampton Roads Online Mall.com.
All right, GJBTV.com. Hit the YouTube link for archive shows. Shop on the marketplace sponsors of both GJBTV.com and Hampton Roads Online Mall.com. Browse, shop, visit great business merchants right there on Hampton Roads Online Mall.com. Save the date. We'll be back next Wednesday for Sports Scene from 12 to 1 right here. Of course, the station carries the Wizards as well. Select games Wizards are doing very, very well, and they carried the Ravens on this station as well. We'd like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, listening to today's broadcast in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea on tunein.com by typing in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. Thanks for all that you do. We hope you're enjoying today's version of Sports Scene, and of course a great place to eat. I'm a foodie, folks, and I'll tell you about that because in a few weeks we're going to have a guy that I used to work with at Red Zebra. I was flicking the channel around during the Super Bowl, and he was on the Food Network with Rachel Ray as one of the worst cooks in America. In fact, Joe Daniel was watching that same show as well. But Outback Steakhouse has got great appetizers, steaks, seafood, pasta, desserts, beverages, great chicken dishes, all types of great food right there at 1255 Fordham Drive in Virginia Beach. Go by there and watch the NBA, college basketball, auto racing. 1255 Fordham Drive in Kempsville. 523-4832 is the phone number. Excellent place to bring the family. Lunch, dinner, 7 days a week, late night, convenient location right in the heart of Kempsville. Go by and see Mike and the friendly staff right there at Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. They do everything right from the beginning to the appetizers to like the shrimp to the pasta, the seafood, the steaks, the burgers. You can't go wrong at Outback in Kempsville. Brian Parsons, back to you. From Wavy TV 10, Fox 43, we'll call him the Mr. 5-Hour Energy Guy because he's making it up today, folks. He's bringing it. I love it. Brian's bringing it right here on Sports Scene. Brian, we talk about Old Dominion. We mentioned a little bit about their football program. Their men's basketball team is 14-9, and of course their women's basketball team is not doing too good either. They're 12-10. Atmosphere at both places.
Hey, well, at the Ted Constant Convocation Center for men and women. Well, for the women, it is what it is. I mean, they've been kind of a mediocre program the past few years. They've been knocking on the door of trying to get into the NCAA tournament. They lost in the conference championship game last year. I mean, it's Conference USA basketball. I mean, you've got Rice coming in and Louisiana Tech and these teams that a lot of local fans don't have much identity with. And as far as the men obviously draw a lot better than the women, a lot better. But the attendance is still down from the heyday of the Blaine Taylor heyday when they were going to the NCAA tournament, making regular appearances and winning conference championships. But also on the same token, VCU and George Mason were in the league then. So you had those teams coming in once a year, and William and Mary. And if you look at the attendance for Old Dominion, some of the highest attended games this year have been William and Mary, James Madison, and VCU out of conference games against in-state foes. It's a tough league, though. We talked about it last year, Greg. The top half of Conference USA is pretty daggone good. The bottom half is dreadful with RPIs in the 300s. Old Dominion did blow a 15-point lead Saturday night against Florida Atlantic. I was not working that night, okay? Mm-hmm. I left the game. I went as a fan and left, figured Old Dominion had it handedly. Nathan Epstein, who was working that night, texted me and had a question about, hey, do you think we should lead with Kenny Easley in the Hall of Fame or Old Dominion collapse? And I'm thinking, what are you talking about, Old Dominion collapse? There's no way they lost that game. It's a tough season for the men. They're not going to make the NCAA tournament. Obviously, they're going to have to win the Conference USA tournament. They're not going to make the NIT. Maybe they could pay their way into one of these tournaments that nobody really cares about. Here's the thing, though. Jeff Jones is in his 4th season. If they don't make the NCAA tournament next year in season 5, I think he's seriously on the hot seat. He was brought in to take Old Dominion to the NCAA tournament.
Which Blaine did.
Blaine did. Jeff Jones, his second year, they were literally the first team out. The first team out. Last year, they lost in the final. They were 1 second away from beating Middle Tennessee to advance to the tournament. They've been close, but close doesn't cut it. And they're going to need to make the NCAA tournament next year, in my opinion, for Jeff Jones to keep his job.
Yeah, and Blaine had his demons. He did take the team to the NCAA tournament. And, of course, Jeff took him to the Final Four of the NIT, and Jeff had the pedigree of playing with Jeff Lamp and UVA and knowing Wood, being the former coach at American and Virginia. But here's the thing. That was a great point you brought up earlier, too. Karen Barefoot is full of energy, full of fizz full of whatever you want to call it. But the bottom line is nobody's going to her games. Jeff Jones is total opposite personality of Karen. He's more subdued, laid back. The atmosphere is there, but it's almost like, you would rather have a Karen type personality coaching the men. The women, they are what they are. I think Karen's brought them to pretty good heights. But the bottom line is, now as a coach, like Bobby Wilder said, Mr. PR, you have to sell your program as a head coach to the fans, and that's one thing that Capel did not do at Old Dominion at all. I know he's got health issues. We want him to get well, but today you have to be a Saban. You've got to be an Urban Meyer. You've got to constantly sell radio, TV, all that stuff today. That's
true, and one of the more concerning things regarding Old Dominion's attendance to me is the lack of student involvement. The student section, in my opinion, it should be full. It should be full. The arena's on campus. When I went there, the games were at Scope. And, it was kind of a hassle to get to those games. To me, there's no excuse. I'm not going to say the tickets are free because those students, you're paying for those tickets and your student activity fees as part of your tuition. So you might as well take advantage of what you're paying for and go to the games. I mean, you don't have to pay any extra money to go, but you can just show up and go to the games. It seems like the only time they can fill up the student section is if they have some sort of a free food giveaway, like a spaghetti dinner or something like that. I'm baffled as to why they can't fill the student section up at Old Dominion. It's shocking to me.
And part of it, nobody gets fired up about any team in the Conference USA. I mean, it's one of the worst TV conferences in the country. I get it. It's Old Dominion. It's the Constant Center. The atmosphere is there. There's Old Dominion alumni. But like you said, there's no Wayne Mary. There's no James Madison. There's no Richmond. There's no VCU. There's no George Mason. Heck, there's not even a George Washington. Anyway,
here's what I want to see happen. I want to see Conference USA and the Sun Belt blow up and reorganize, and therefore Old Dominion could be in a league with Marshall, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, Charlotte, Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina, Florida International, Florida Atlantic, and then you put all those other schools in the Sun Belt, Texas State, and all of that, and Appalachian State could be in the league that Old Dominion would be in a reconfigured. I think it would make sense for both leagues and all the schools involved because you shouldn't be paying all that travel money to go to El Paso. Old Dominion should not be going to El Paso, Texas, to play a conference game.
Let alone, let's go out of town for a conference tournament. All right, we got Walt Ruff from the Admirals in just a moment. His segment brought to you by Sandwiches, Burgers, and Hoagies. Go by and see them at 1371 East Little Creek Road in Norfolk. Phone number is 587-7205. Open Monday through Saturday from 11 to 8. Go by and see the friendly staff. They got beef on weck, which is delicious. Try a little horseradish. The guy's from Buffalo, Brian, and of course this area has got two former, players from this area who now play for the Bills, and of course, one is Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor, his future is in jeopardy or in doubt with the Bills. So many local connections with the Bills. Sean McDermott, the coach, was an assistant coach, played for William & Mary, was on the same team as Mike Tomlin, whose assistant coach on that team was Dan Quinn, who's the head coach of the Falcons.
Oh, they're all connected right there. Sandwiches, Burgers, and Hoagies. Go by there and see them. Again, at 1371 East Little Creek Road. They've got delicious burgers. They got subs. They got all types of food. Try their beef on weck. Great fries and onion rings by the friendly staff there. 587-7205. I had it. You should try it too. Walt Ruff from the Norfolk Admirals. How are you, my friend?
Greg, doing well. How are you?
Always good to hear. You got Brian Parsons here as well, and Brian will ask you a question in a second. Of course, the Admirals continuing to keep on keeping on, and let's give us an update as far as their home games.
Yeah, so we've got a couple home games coming up, starting with as soon as tonight. We are taking on the South Division rival Greenville Swamp Rabbits, a pretty crucial division game for us this evening, and then the South Carolina Stingrays come to town on Friday. Pretty big promotional night for us. We've got military appreciation, faith and family, and hockey is for lovers. So whether you want to bring out your full family, just your lover, or want to come out and see our specialty military jerseys, it should be a pretty fun night at Scope on Friday.
The record is 15-25-4. You had a really good January, but the fans here, whether it's the Tides or the Admirals, I think they just like the local entertainment. There's a lot of fun to watch the skating. How's the atmosphere there?
The atmosphere is growing. We know it's been a transitional year for us. That's why we've kind of had to be on our toes and make some adjustments to our promotional schedule and those sorts of things. We want to have people come out not only for the game, but for the entertainment value as well. Hence why we've kind of bolstered some big nights here in our final month, such as this Friday. You know, we've got a trifecta of promotions coming up. We're trying to make sure we're doing our end to make people want to come out.
We talked about the last week, the staff directory. Go ahead and give us a little plug of the staff. You have a wonderful staff that you work with.
Yeah, we really do, and I think I'll kind of take you around the office here, but our merchandise manager, Richard Hamilton, has really brought some fresh ideas to the organization this year, and, you know, for years to come, I think you're going to see some re-energized style of promotions, and we're really excited. We've got some brand new collectible pucks just arriving in yesterday for our Military Appreciation Weekend coming up. We've got a great sales staff, Charlie Colon, Dennis McEwen, Sammy Hamid. They are all doing a really great job of trying to get this ship steered in the right direction. Coming from the top down, Mike Santos, our new president, who was just brought on board in November, has done an absolutely incredible job of, again, trying to make sure things are headed in the right direction with this staff. He's brought on board our vice president of sales, Roland Nadeau, who just started today, and Brooke Craner, vice president community relations. They've both done a tremendous job working to, you know, again, we're trying to put this thing in a new direction, and I think we're doing it. Change isn't going to happen overnight, but we're all headed in the right path.
Hey, Walt, Brian Parsons from Wavy TV here. How are you?
Good, Brian. How are you? Good to hear you. I hear you are you're mentioning spaghetti dinner, fitting for our Spaghetti Wednesday promotion tonight.
Yeah, I was talking about Old Dominion, but yeah, no, that's pretty cool what you guys do with, and I know it's like the first couple of hundred people that get in and get the spaghetti dinner and to try to ramp up the crowd on a Wednesday night. I just want to say I think you guys have done a tremendous job. The new ownership of the new management group, of the new coaching staff, and everything. Fantastic job you guys have been doing, and it was a great feeling a couple of weeks ago to see the attendance numbers up and to feel that atmosphere at Scope. To feel like it was a couple of years ago. I mean, it's what's it like to see the energy and that atmosphere back at Scope with crowds of over 5,000?
It's fantastic, and, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you and, you know, you, Greg, as well, for coming out and, you know, showing your support for us. We know over the years past, it's been a couple of down years. There's no hiding it, and it feels great. Having back during our big win streak there on January 20th and 21st, we had our Pink in the Rink night, which is always special out here, and just to see having broken 5,000 on both nights, this place gets loud, fellas. How about it? I mean, even when you just pump a couple few thousand people in here, where capacity is just shy of 9,000, but when you're in that ballpark of anywhere 5,000 above, this place gets loud and rowdy, and the fans' passion really comes out, and we love having it here, and that's why we're trying to, you know, make that happen more frequently here in the second half.
Walt, plug your social media.
Okay, Norfolk Admirals all across the board, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. For me, it's Walt Ruff, pretty standard across the board as well. I got a Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram.
Hey, Walt, reflect back on the game in which the Admirals were trailing 5-1 in the third period and came back and won. What was the range of emotions like that night?
That was just maddening. I really don't even know if I have the words to describe it. I remember being in the press box during the second intermission. I'm trying to get a head start on my recap and cutting the video highlights as well, but we had just come back the previous night from being down 3-1, and we won 4-3 in extra time. And, you know, there's kind of the vibe where it's like, okay, you know, maybe this is possible, but I don't know. 4 goals is a lot to come up with. And I remember walking down, I was talking to Joe Cicero, the Virginian pilot, and I said, I don't know about this one tonight. You know, I really don't know if we'd be able to come back from this. And sure enough, you know, you get one early in the third. Okay. You get another early in the third. All right. You know, you can score 2 goals in 10 minutes. And sure enough, and then that 5th goal coming with just 2 minutes on the clock, that place erupted. And there was almost if, you know, there was no way we were going to lose that game after we had scored 4 in the third. It was just so remarkable that I don't even know how everyone would have felt if really Manchester came back to get 1. But just putting the cap on that in the shootout, it was a really special night and really cool to see.
Yeah, incredible.
Right. And next week we'll talk about the playoff possibilities, even at 15, 25, and 4. Walt, all the best. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, fellas. Really appreciate you having me on. Brian, good talking to you. Greg, thanks for all you do for us.
My pleasure.
See you,
okay. Walt right there from the Norfolk Admirals, really high-energy PR guy.
Yeah, Walt's fantastic. I mean,
He is.
the Admirals, the new regime, the new management. I mean, I'm excited about Admirals hockey again. After last year, a lot of people weren't so happy that they were in the ECHL after being in the AHL for so long. But they weren't very successful last year, and they got off to a rough start this year, and they're starting to turn things around, and the crowds are starting to come back to Scope, and I think that's just great.
Brian, thank you again for joining us. Give us your final thoughts, sports, TV, whatever you want to say.
Well, you can watch the Fox 43 Sports Wrap every single night at 10:45 on Fox 43. 15 minutes of local sports. Not many areas in the country have a 15-minute local sports show. Plus, we're also on at 6 o'clock, on 6:20 on Wavy, and 11 o'clock in the news. The 11 o'clock news. Of course, a lot of our content can be on wavy.com. The three-man department, it's me, Bruce Rader, and Nathan Epstein, 365 days a year. That's it. It's us three covering all the sports for Wavy TV and Fox 43. I'm on Twitter at BPAR73. Just search Brian Parsons, and you'll find me. And yeah, exciting time, man. March Madness coming up. This is a great time of year.
Well, next time you come in here, make it Brian's job and put it on Wavy, okay? Like Joe used to it back in the day on Channel 13.
I don't know what that means.
Joe Flanagan.
I know, Joe. I'm joking.
Joe's a good man, of course. All right, stay tuned, folks. We'll be back after these messages.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Like them on Facebook and visit them at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 485-5555 today.
The place to go for U.S. rare coins is Newcastle Coins and Collectibles in Chesapeake. They specialize in U.S. and silver and gold coins and provide free verbal offers and are always buying U.S. rare coins. Newcastle Coins and Collectibles, 681 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake, across from Chesapeake General, open Tuesday through Saturday and always online at newcastlecollectibles.com. Call 757-609-3633, 757-609-3633 for Newcastle Coins and Collectibles.
Mark your calendar for June 1st through June 4th as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the 50th anniversary of this signature event on the peninsula, and it will be special. The Newport News Greek Festival is located at 60 Travis Road, off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
All right. Welcome back live right here to Sports Scene. Buffalo Wild Wings in Newport News. Great place to watch NASCAR, the NHL, the NBA, and of course March Madness coming up next month. Go by and see Paul and the friendly staff at 12150 Jefferson Avenue. Great place for delicious wings, shareables, wedges, fries, chips, sodas. They got desserts, tenders, burgers, and more. Wraps and sandwiches at Buffalo Wild Wings in Newport News. Always to the community. Get a gift card. For more, log on to buffalowildwings.com. Find them on social media as well, right there near Patrick Henry Mall. Go by and see Paul Odette and the friendly staff late night as well. Lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Delicious wings and great sauce too. Another place to watch sports on TV is CP Shuckers, with locations on Shore Drive and Pacific Avenue. People love their prime rib, seafood, and much more. Like both locations on Facebook and log on to cpshuckers.com. Great burgers, pasta, seafood, salad, desserts 7 days a week. Renovating the Pacific Avenue location for the spring and summer season. Great locations on Shore Drive and Pacific Avenue. Go by and see Matt, Mark, and Leon, as well as the good people over at Panda Express and Newport News at 5009 Victory Boulevard, right there on the border of Yorktown and Newport News. Great place for a healthy type of Asian cuisine as well, especially like chow mein, fried rice. They got grilled teriyaki chicken as well, beverages. They've got a really neat thing called the Sweet Fire chicken breast, as well as string bean chicken breast too as well. Kung Pao chicken right there. Catering, they've got it all, no matter what the occasion is. We walk the talk, they say, at 5009 Victory Boulevard. You need sweets? We are getting closer and closer to Valentine's Day. It's less than a week away. Let's welcome Brenda Tusing from the Royal Chocolate. How are you, Brenda?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good, very good. I guess when you walk in the store now, you're getting closer to Valentine's Day. What's it like?
It's getting crazier and crazier. People calling, placing their orders for either for pickup or for delivery. We're doing a lot of shipping right now as well. We ship all over the country, so we have a big shipment that went out today. About 7 packages went out this morning. So yeah, things are heating up. People are starting to realize, oh my gosh, it's next Tuesday.
Yes, 6 days away. Tell us your address and your phone number.
We're at 164 Central Park Avenue in the Virginia Beach Town Center, 757-557-6925. And hey, 2 things I want to tell you about.
Sure.
If you place an order with us before this Friday at 5 o'clock, we are doing half off of local delivery. Just mention that you heard it here on the radio, and we will be glad to deliver for you at half price. We always offer curbside service. If you call, order something and pay for it, we'll bring it to your car when you drive up. And we've got a lineup of events for Saturday, Sunday, and next Tuesday. Fondue seatings, wonderful events, so nice in the store, fireplace area, beautiful.
Right, there's always something for everyone. And one thing you and Terry do, you really make it convenient for everybody. You're open 7 days a week. You have a nice place to sit down there. You've got restrooms. You got the best chocolate in the world.
We do. We like to think so. Yeah. But yeah, we try to make it convenient. You know, people have been sort of inconvenienced, certainly, by the parking lot that went away across the street from us. So that's why we've always done curbside service, but we're really pushing that. We're doing 50% off local delivery just to help people get what they want for Valentine's Day. And as you mentioned, we have a beautiful seating area in here, and we're doing some nice events. Hey, I bet I didn't tell you this. Someone is getting married in our store on Saturday at 4 o'clock.
Wow, that's nice.
I know. We've had 5 engagements. People using, we do those great, big, wonderful strawberries, and we will have thousands of those ready to go for Valentine's Day. Sometimes people have had us write, "Will you marry me?" on strawberries, and it's just a fun place. Chocolate is the language of love.
Will the store still be open during the wedding ceremony?
It is. We don't have any fondue seatings or anything. They asked to use the space by the fireplace. They said, hey, we don't care if you're open. It's very casual, like 10 people, and a second wedding. And they love our store. They've had date nights in here, and they just thought it was the perfect place for their wedding. So we're quite excited.
All right, tell us the promotion one more time, B.
We're doing some chocolate. Are you talking about the fondue?
Yeah, the special, the radio special.
We're doing fondues on Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. We have seatings. Just call in and get a reservation for fondue seatings. We're open extended hours on Sunday, 12 to 6, and Tuesday, Valentine's Day, we're going to open at 8:30, and we'll be open until 10 p.m.
All right, 557-6925. Get your chocolate right now, 557-6925. All the best, Brenda, and we will talk to you soon. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Hey, get out there and get something special for Valentine's Day.
You got it. Go to theroyalchocolate.com, folks.
All right, thank
you, Brenda. Let's get to what teased me off.
What Tees You Off? Presented by GJBTV.com.
And thank you to Brenda Tusing. Great place for Valentine's Day is theroyalchocolate.com, 557-6925. All right, what teased me off? 2 people sharing an email. If that's not enough, then joint Facebook accounts. You're adults, really?
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, 2 people, 2 adults, married, whatever, a couple, whatever you want to call them, sharing a Facebook account. I mean, have an identity, folks. People who talk loud at restaurants, we don't want to hear your conversations.
People that talk too loud on their cell phones, standing in line at 7-Eleven or something like that, I don't want to hear your conversation. Get over yourself.
Right, or blocking a drive-through because they're waiting for their order, so they're blocking everybody else in traffic at a certain fast food restaurant because the person told them to move over into a parking spot, but they don't want to move over.
That's rude, man.
Yes, that's why we call it What Teased Me Off. Okay, the bar is wide open, and what happens? Strangers come and sit right next to you when you're waiting for somebody else.
Well, I guess it depends on who that would be. I mean,
That's true.
If Giselle came by and sat down next to me at an empty bar, I'd be okay with that.
We're not talking about Giselle, no. But of course, we'd like to see her. Having to wait to park when you make reservations at a sporting event. Anyway, envious Democrats, you know what? Whether you're Republican or Democrat, just move on. Just let them do their job. And baggage. Nobody likes baggage or hearing about exes.
What teased me off, people that tweet too much during a big game like the Super Bowl, when they tweet every 5 seconds, are they even watching the game? And quite frankly, I mean, I really don't care what you think that much.
Yeah, another thing, too, great point, is when you're taking pictures of an event, you're missing it with your own eyes, and you don't remember what you're seeing anyway because the picture doesn't capture everything. It captures a little bit.
Yeah, soak it in and enjoy the moment.
Right. All right, Brian, thanks a lot, my friend. Thank you,
Greg.
Joe Daniel. Great job today by everybody. Want to thank, of course, Brian Parsons from Wavy TV 10, Fox 43, also Brenda Tusing and Walt Ruff. For Joe Daniel, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. For more, go to gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link, and, of course, go to Twitter at Greg Bick, and, of course, tunein.com by typing in WHKT. We'll talk to you soon.
The best of News Talk Radio in Hampton Roads, AM 1650, WHKT Portsmouth. We are the answer.